Hi, if you are doing this subtraction equation review, it is because on our Socrative lesson, you made a mistake on the subtraction equation problem that was z minus 42 equals 23. The most common answer was z equaled 19. Well, if I check that by placing that in here, if I start at 19 and I take away 42 items, am I going to end at 23? No way. We're going to be in negative numbers because if we're in 19 and we go back 42 places, we are not going to be at 23. We're going to be in our negative numbers. So let's take a look back at how we solve these. So right here, if I have z minus 42 equals 23, let's draw a tape diagram. So remember, when we're dealing with subtraction, we have to think about part, whole. So when we're looking at a subtraction problem, which thing is our whole? Our whole is actually the z. We start at z, it's our biggest number, it's our biggest piece. Then this, and I like to go from this way because I feel like we're taking them off of this side, is what we're taking off. We're taking off 42, and then we land at 23. We have 23 left. So right here, when we make this tape diagram, it is perfect to see z is 23 plus this 42. That's what makes up the z. So if I do 23 plus 42, I get 65. If I look at it algebraically, what did I do over here? I had 23 plus the 42. So remember, what I do to one side, I have to do the exact same thing to the other side. So when I add 42 here, I get 65. But since I added 42 here, I have to add 42 here. And the point of doing that is if I owe somebody $42 and then I give them $42, I now owe them $0. So I have z minus nothing is the same as 65. So that tells me z is really the same as 65. What I was hoping we learned during this unit is that when you have a variable and it's being subtracted from, you always add. We have to do the inverse to what we're doing to the variable to solve it. So since z is being subtracted by 42, the inverse would be adding 42. If I had 3z, that's the variable is being multiplied, I would need to divide by 3. If I had z divided by 3, then I would need to multiply by 3 because the inverse of what's being done is how we solve it. But again, using these tape diagrams as your model would give you exactly 23 and 42 together give you z. So we're going to try a couple more, and so let me do one more. If I had x minus 13 equals 20, first thing I would do is draw my tape diagram. That's going to be a part, whole. So here's my two parts. So when I'm looking at this, which number is the biggest thing? It's going to be the x. That's the whole. Then I take away 13. So I'm going backwards 13, and I'm left with 20. So what do I do to figure out what x equals? Well, x is the same as this 20 and this 13 together, so I add 20 plus 13. So now I know that x equals 13, and I always, when I get an answer, want to plug it right back into the original problem to see if it worked. If you would have done that here when you originally got 19 and you plugged it back into the original, you would have discovered, oh, that's right, I don't subtract 42 and 23, I need to add them. So always check your work. So if I do 33 minus 13, that's not how I would do that. Minus 13, 0, 2, I get 20. That's what I need to get. So check, I got the correct answer. If I wanted to do this algebraically, x minus 13 equals 20. What's being done to my variable? It's being subtracted. What's the inverse of subtracting 13? Adding 13. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. And again, that's where this visual tells you you need to add those things. So I have 20 plus 13 is 33. I owe somebody $13. I give them $13. I now owe them nothing. So x minus 0 is the same as 33. So therefore, x is the same as 33. Again, I would check these algebraically. 33 minus 13, 20, 20. Check. All right, it is your turn to do these. I'm trusting you to do the tape diagram on your sheet of paper and to type in the answer correctly. So when you go to type in the answer, I'm going to have something like x equals, and then there's going to be a blank. You just type in whatever x equals. So only thing you're typing in is the numbers into that blank. All right, you can do this. If you need help, email me or ask for a conference.